Hey Bougie click. Are modern dating habits secretly subtly conditioning you to remain attached to individuals long after they have departed from your life? In a world where casual encounters and digital connections dominate, soul ties are more real than ever, whether you realize it or not. Today, we are diving deep into the unseen forces binding people together, from the chemistry of intimacy to the emotional baggage of breakup cycles. If you have ever felt stuck on someone long after they should be forgotten, this is for you.
I'ma make you a fan.
Soul ties exposed in the digital age of modern dating. Soul ties are the unseen emotional and psychological bonds that form between two people after deep connection or intimacy. While traditionally associated with spiritual beliefs, they manifest in very real psychological ways in modern relationships. When two people engage emotionally, physically, and even intellectually, they can create lasting ties that linger long after the relationship ends. Soul ties are deep emotional and spiritual connections between two people that can feel almost unbreakable. They form through intense relationships, whether romantic, platonic, or even traumatic. Unlike simple memories or attachments, soul ties create an unseen link that influences thoughts, feelings, and behaviors long after the relationship has ended. Some ties uplift and empower while others drain and trap. The real question is whether your soul tie is serving your growth or stunting it. Hookup culture and casual encounters. The rise of hookup culture, fueled by dating apps and social media, has normalized short-term encounters with little emotional investment. But here's the catch: casual does not mean consequence-free. Emotional bonds can still form even when the relationship was never meant to be long-term. Whether acknowledged or not, repeated intimate connections with multiple partners can leave emotional imprints, making it harder to detach and fully move on. Digital dating and false attachments. Modern dating trends have introduced an entirely new way to develop connections without actual substance. Texting, late-night FaceTimes, and social media engagement create a false sense of intimacy. The emotional investment into someone via digital interactions can feel just as strong as physical presence, leading to attachment even when a relationship lacks real depth. This creates soul ties that make people emotionally tethered to those they have never truly connected with in reality. The chemical influence on soul ties. Beyond emotions, there is a biological element at play. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone released during intimacy, increases emotional attachment. People often assume they can engage in casual relationships without consequence, yet their own body works against them by chemically reinforcing the connection. Over time, repeated bonds with multiple partners can fragment emotional stability, leading to struggles with deep, meaningful future connections. How do you get soul ties? Through intimate relationships. Sex is one of the most common ways soul ties form. It is more than just a physical act, it intertwines emotions, energies, and even spiritual identities. Every time someone engages in intimacy, they aren't just sharing their body but also parts of their soul. When that connection ends, pieces remain behind, sometimes leaving people feeling emotionally tethered to a past partner long after separation. Through intense emotional bonds. Soul ties aren't always romantic. Deep friendships, family bonds, or even mentor-mentee relationships can create lasting ties. When two people pour vulnerability, trust, and emotional energy into each other, they establish a connection that shapes their identity. The stronger the emotional investment, the stronger the tie. Through trauma or toxic relationships. Not all soul ties are positive. Toxic relationships, whether abusive, manipulative, or obsessive, create unhealthy soul ties that keep people stuck in cycles of pain. Trauma bonds often feel unshakable because pain becomes intertwined with love, making it difficult to separate what is truly healthy from what is simply familiar. Breaking these ties requires deep self-awareness and intentional healing. Through spiritual connections. Some soul ties are formed through shared spiritual experiences or practices. People who engage in prayer, meditation, or even certain rituals together may find their souls deeply intertwined. These can be powerful sources of support but also require careful discernment to ensure that the connection remains healthy and aligned with personal growth. Biblical perspective on soul ties. The Bible does not explicitly use the term soul ties, but it does describe deep spiritual and emotional connections between people. One of the most well-known examples is the bond between David and Jonathan, described in 1 Samuel 18 verse 1, where their souls were knit together in friendship. This illustrates how strong emotional ties can be formed through love and loyalty. On the other hand, the Bible warns against unhealthy attachments, particularly those formed through sexual immorality. 1 Corinthians 6 verse 16 states, "Do you not know that he who unites himself with a prostitute is one with her in body? For it is said, the two will become one flesh." This verse highlights how sexual relationships create deep spiritual bonds that can have lasting effects. Breaking unhealthy soul ties aligns with biblical principles of repentance and renewal. James 4 verse 7 encourages believers to submit to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you, emphasizing the importance of turning away from harmful connections and seeking spiritual healing. Are soul ties good or bad? Soul ties are neither inherently good nor bad. Their impact depends on the nature of the relationship and how it influences your life. Healthy ties nurture growth, confidence, and emotional security. Unhealthy ties drain energy, distort self-worth, and trap people in toxic cycles. The key is recognizing which ties serve you and which ones need to be released. Breaking unhealthy soul ties. People often struggle to break free from past relationships because of soul ties that linger long after physical separation. Ever wonder why it is so difficult to stop thinking about someone even months after they are gone? That is the emotional residue of a soul tie making detachment feel nearly impossible. When people enter new relationships carrying unresolved emotional baggage, they limit their ability to connect fully, dragging old attachments into new dynamics. Breaking soul ties requires conscious effort. Emotional detox starts by cutting off unnecessary attachments, whether digital or physical. Setting boundaries in relationships and avoiding situations that deepen emotional reliance are essential. Self-awareness, emotional healing, and intentional connection with those who truly align with one's values help prevent forming unhealthy bonds. Modern dating trends make soul ties unavoidable for those who engage without understanding their lasting impact. Whether through casual encounters, digital relationships, or repeated breakups, the emotional and psychological influence remains real. Healing is not instant, but identifying toxic connections and making conscious efforts to reclaim emotional independence is the first step toward freedom. Soul ties shape emotions, decisions, and even destinies. Whether empowering or destructive, they influence every aspect of life. The real power lies in understanding them, controlling them, and making sure they serve your highest good. Conclusion: the power of intentional intimacy. Soul ties are inevitable, but the effects they have depend on how they are formed and nurtured. Approaching intimacy with awareness means understanding the emotional consequences of every connection. Meaningful relationships, whether long-term or brief, should be approached with honesty and intentionality. Recognizing the emotional impact of intimacy empowers individuals to make choices that align with their emotional well-being, rather than chasing the illusion of consequence-free connection. Casual does not mean emotionally neutral. Every interaction leaves an imprint. The question is whether those imprints are strengthening emotional health or leaving behind baggage that makes true emotional freedom harder to achieve. Soul ties are not just a spiritual concept, they are an undeniable reality shaping modern relationships. From fleeting hookups to deep emotional bonds forged through a screen, the consequences stick whether you acknowledge them or not. But understanding them is the first step to breaking free and reclaiming emotional clarity. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if this resonated, and do not forget to subscribe for more eye-opening content. Until next time, keep those connections intentional. What do you think? Are soul ties real? Let me know in the comments section. Stay bougie. Follow and support me. All links in bio. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check description for more info. New episodes every day.